This is a video response to Sailing Manual, and it's shot in Lambdog Vision just in case. Just in case I understood you correctly or didn't understand you correctly or whatever, you get the Lambdog Vision. Manuel, who, in case you guys don't know, Sailing Manual, I gotta really like this guy. I mean, he came up last year, up and coming, clear, concise content, funny guy, and then has just the right amount of serious note every once in a while. And so it is with his latest couple of videos titled Lamb Preppers. And his beef is with the people that talk a hell of a game, but he's noticed that when the chips are down, he feels that there's no difference between those people and the people that he's had experience with in his life. You know, like a prepper person makes a video and they're holding their rifle and they're like, "Man, if somebody come here for my ramen noodles, that's right. I'm gonna be like Travis Haley. I'm gonna shoot you full of lead." Couple of things. One, Manuel. This is to Manuel. I didn't think it was necessarily appropriate that you were comparing the Jewish people that were coming from the ghettos when they were finally executed by the Germans, and comparing like, oh, I deem this society as sheep, and you're going to be just like those Jewish people who met their fate. I want to give you some context on those Jewish people that are in those videos. They had been on a caloric diet of something like 600 calories a day for the last year. Many of them had seen their children killed right before their eyes. Very, very terrible things. And what you saw there was a defeated people. And it's not. I think you should maybe consider being a little bit more sensitive to that, if you want to, man. I'm just saying. Also, too, and I know it wasn't your point, but there were some of the ghettos that did actually resist. But it's an interesting study if you want to look at it that way. I don't know if you've read Schindler's List, not watched the movie, but actually read the book, or the Diary of Anne Frank. It might give you some ideas there. I don't know. I know, again, I know that wasn't your point. What is interesting about those ghettos, though, did you know that they were policed by Jewish people? Like they put all these people, because of their race and religion in a certain area, didn't allow them out, only allowed a certain amount of food in, and then put somebody within that group to be in charge of all those people. And some of the great atrocities that were committed against those people were by these people that were placed over the top of them. So I mean, there's a good study of humanity. I would just ask you not to be too harsh on the people you actually see by the time they're executed. You can get somebody to do all kinds of shit when they're beaten. I don't know if you've actually been around a person who's defeated, but it's pretty bad. All of a person's hope and all of a person's will is taken from them. And I think too, so it is with your theory over what may happen with the preppers who talk tough right now. I think you got to be practical with it. You're going to lose a lot, and even if you are one of them toughest guys, I mean, are you as the toughest guy the weakest link in your team? Survivor's remorse is a terrible, terrible thing, and it's the most difficult thing to get over. You, Manuel, me, whatever. I mean, we can be hard as a 10-penny nail. Is our family that hard? You know, I can go a couple days without food. You know, kids can't. They can't. You can write it down on paper all you want. You know how you can go 3 days without water. A kid can't go 3 days without water. Hell, we can't go 3 days without water. You're useless after a day. I know. I mean, you start shutting down, man. And when you're starving and you're in that mood, man, it's bad. But I do see your point. Not that, at least I don't think it was that Manuel is tough. You got Cuban power. I don't have Cuban power. I'm just a what mm. Anywho, at the risk of this video going too long, any prepper, whether or survival type or self-defense type, whether you are tough, whether you think you're tough, whether you think you're tougher than somebody else. When you blanketly look at a group of people lined up just looking on, you don't know who's in that line or why they're hanging back or whatever. You know what I'm saying? I mean, any given day you could be the patsy. I've seen people good on one day freeze on another day. I've been stressed out to the point of needing to have a boot put in my ass, and luckily it worked. But just like, maybe this is something you can appreciate. Just like, I don't know how you are after something really stressful happens. Me personally, I seem to be okay with stress at the time, regardless of what it is. Whether we're involved in a car accident, I see a great amount of violence, or there's a terrible accident right there in front of me. I'm okay during the event, but once everything's calmed down and the smoke clears, that's when I start shaking, and it's almost as if everything I'd been putting off comes back on. Now, if all this action is over and I'm doing my little my stressed out thing, could a person come up and say, "Hey, Ron, stop that right now, and you get back in the action"? I mean, who's to say when those stresses, those chemicals that are in a person's body, are natural and appropriate? I mean, we're all made different, and I think for a different reason. And I think, in conclusion, that if a person has a heart and they can have that gun and they can be pointing it at somebody and not just see that other person as an animal, and they actually see that other person as a human being, I think that's a good thing. I really do, and I think there's a place for it. But what I would want to say is, if you are one of those people who does see that humanity in other people, don't necessarily think that it's so great to be a hard ass. Because Manuel, I'm sure you could tell him there's times when you're being a hard ass, and being a hard ass wasn't the right thing to do. Because we ain't all never always right. All right. Y'all take care.